Dear participants of the MBA program, today we are going to talk about market structure. You have already learned what is a market. A market is basically the interaction between consumers and producers. But not all markets are the same. There are some markets which are different from the others. So that's why we are going to learn different types of market in today's lecture. Basically, there are 4 elements or characteristics which differentiate one market from the other, or which determine the characteristics or types of market. Those 4 characteristics of markets are: number 1, number of buyers or how many buyers are there in the market; number 2, number of sellers or how many sellers are there in the market; number 3, product differentiation, in other words whether firms in that market are selling the same product or differentiated products; and number 4, entry restriction, in other words is it possible for other firms to enter into the market easily or entry is a bit difficult. So on the basis of these 4 different characteristics, we can divide markets into 4 types: perfect competition, monopoly, monopolistic competition, and oligopoly. Again, 4 types of market are there. Number 1, perfect competition or perfectly competitive market. Number 2, monopoly. Number 3, monopolistically competitive market or monopolistic competition, and number 4 is oligopoly. So now let's go to understand each of these markets separately one by one. Number 1, perfect competition or a perfectly competitive market. A perfectly competitive market is that market where there are many buyers, number of buyers are present, and also there are many sellers, or the number of sellers are also numerous. So you can imagine a market where there are many people who are buying and many people who are selling in the same market. And number 3, people who are selling, basically they are selling the same product, exactly identical product, or which is called homogeneity. So each and every seller is basically selling the same product as its or his competitor. And number 4 is every customer or every consumer has perfect knowledge about the product quality and also about the price the competitors are charging. See, these are the 4 characteristics of a perfectly competitive market. As an example, we can cite the name of rice market, mango market, or any other fruit market, vegetable markets. These markets are basically perfectly competitive market because there are a number of buyers present in the market, number of sellers who are also present in the market, and each and everybody is selling basically the same thing, and everybody knows what is the quality of the product being sold in the market. In this market, the prime concern of each and every firm is to match one firm's price to the competitor's price, because nobody can charge a higher price than the others, because if I charge more price than my competitor, then everybody will switch from my shop to the competitor's shop. So nobody will buy from me, everybody will buy from my competitor's shop. Firms in this market also try to maximize their profits like any other markets. So the profit maximization condition for this market is marginal cost is equal to price, or MC is equal to P. In other words, the firms try to adjust their marginal cost equal to the price which is being charged in the market by all firms. This is what we talked about, perfect competition. Now let's move to another type of market, which is monopoly. A monopoly is that market where there is only one seller. There is no other seller, there is no competitor in that market. There is only one seller selling its product. So basically in this market, one firm is one whole industry. For example, take the case of landline telephone service provider TNT. It is the only producer of landline services in Bangladesh, landline telephone services in Bangladesh. So it is the monopoly in landline telephone industry. So it has control over its own price. It does not have to look at the market, what the competitors are charging, what price the competitors are charging. So it can fix its own price in the market. So they are all buying from the one seller who is basically selling that product. Even if we look at the electricity market, we say that we buy electricity from only one provider, not many. So it can charge any price it likes. Normally, monopoly arises because of many reasons. One of these reasons is government regulation. Because government does not allow other firms to start selling electricity, so there is only one seller which is allowed to sell electricity in the market. Similarly, government does not allow any other company to sell landline telephone service, and that's why we see that only one company is basically selling the telephone, landline telephone to the customers. In this market, that's why entry is very much restricted or impossible. Basically, it is not possible for any other firm to enter into that market. Sometimes, apart from the government regulation, there are some other reasons responsible for generating monopoly. The most important difference between a perfectly competitive market and a monopoly market is that in case of perfectly competitive market, the firms cannot charge different prices. They have to accept whatever is offered by the market. That's why they are called price taker. On the other hand, in case of a monopoly market, a firm which is a monopoly can charge its own price, can fix its own price. That's why it is called price fixer or price setter rather than price taker. So this is the difference between a monopoly market and a perfectly competitive market. Now let's move on to the third type of market, which is monopolistic competition or monopolistically competitive market. In this market, we again see that there are many buyers, also there are many sellers in this market. It is easy to enter into this market, so there is no entry restriction in this market. And number 4, which is the most important difference between this market and all other markets, is that this market sells differentiated products. In other words, different firms sell differentiated products, not identical product like the perfectly competitive market. So we say that the name monopolistic competition suggests that this market is basically a competitive market, but each firm is selling differentiated product, not identical product, different product. That's why each firm is behaving like a single monopoly. For example, cola drinks market. There are different firms which are selling cola drinks. For example, Coca-Cola, Pepsi-Cola, RC-Cola. These different companies are selling cola drinks. But again, these cola drinks are not the same. Pepsi-Cola claims to be different from Coca-Cola and Coke claims to be different from RC-Cola. These are all cola drinks, but again they are different. Now this differentiation is made purposefully, or the firm intentionally makes this differentiation, and with the help of massive advertisement they create this differentiation, and they attempt to create an image in the mind of the consumers that this product or their product is different from all other products in the market. That's why they are able to charge different price than their competitors. And we can see in the market that Coca-Cola's price is different from Pepsi-Cola. You know, around the globe, Coke, the company Coke, charges a premium price always, which is a bit more than the Pepsi. It is because of the image in the mind of the consumers that Coke is better than the Pepsi. So, in this market we see that different companies sell their products differently. In other words, not the same products are being sold in the market. So, when consumers go to the market to buy a certain product, they believe that, they perceive that these products are different, and that is why they are ready to pay different prices for these products. But again, because there is competition in the market due to the free entry, so any company can start selling cola products tomorrow morning. So, there is high competition, and we see that currently in Bangladesh there are many companies which are selling this cola product. Pepsi, apart from Pepsi, Coke, RC, Pran Cola, Double Cola, and all these cola drinks are being sold in the market because entry is free. Anybody can start selling cola drinks. Because of this thing, end of the day, what happens that farms feel a sort of pressure in the market and they have to lower the price, and that is why we see that these companies frequently offer discounts, right, in the market to attract customers, so that end of the day they can raise their revenue. Now we are going to talk about the fourth type of market, which is oligopoly market. The oligopoly market is that market where the number of sellers is few rather than many. There may be 4 or 5 sellers or 3 sellers who are selling some product in the market. Not so many sellers are selling the same product in the market, and then again there are many buyers who are buying that product. But entry is very difficult, so it is difficult for a farm to enter into this market. As an example, we can cite the name of mobile network providers, those who are providing mobile network connections in this country, like Grameenphone, Citycell, Banglalink. These companies are competing with each other in the oligopoly market. Only 3 or 4, 5 companies are competing each other in the market, but number of buyers are buying in this market, and it is difficult for a new farm to enter into this market because of many restrictions. Now, in this market what happens that farms become interdependent on each other. So, one farm's strategy very much affect the other farm's actions. That is why we see that in the newspapers, that if one farm announces a certain package, immediately other farms reacts by offering a new package. So, this is what goes on in the oligopoly market. If we want to cite some other examples of these market, we see that automobile industry, airline industry, infant formula makers, then oil industry, these are all examples of oligopoly market. Now, in the equilibrium there could be 2 types of outcomes. One is collusive outcome. In other words, where firms recognize that if they compete each other, then they lose their profit and consumers benefit from their competition. So, what they can do is they can enter into an agreement which is called collusion among themselves, right, in order to charge the same price to the customers, so that customers cannot benefit from their competition, and basically there is no competition which remains in the market. But this type of agreement or collusion is pretty illegal in many countries, including United Kingdom and United States. But if we cite the name of OPEC, OPEC, Organization of Petroleum Exporting Country, that can stand for an example of international collusion or international agreement of oil producers, and this type of organization is called cartel. So, a cartel is an agreement of certain producers who produce the same product. So, what they do is that they jointly fix the amount of output to be produced, and then they charge the same price. So, they effectively reduce competition in the market. So, this is oligopoly market when there is collusion. Now, if for some reason that collusion does not work because of many reasons. One could be cheating by one within the collusion, within the agreement. For example, if after fixing a price and output, if one party on one farm cheats others by selling some extra amount of output in the underground market, then effectively that collusion becomes invalid. So again, those farms start competing each other in the market, and what happens is that prices go down and consumers benefit from that competition. So these are the 4 types of market we have learned today. If we try to recall all these 4 markets, then first of all is perfectly competitive market, then monopoly, again number 3 is monopolistic competition, and number 4 oligopoly. Among all these markets, the more realistic market is monopolistic competition or monopolistically competitive market. Most of the firms today try to become part of monopolistic competition by intentionally differentiating their products from their competitors, so that they can charge their own price, they can fix their own price. Dear participants, so we have so far learned different types of market in today's lecture. These 4 types of market are there, but among all of them, the more realistic model is the monopolistic competition or the monopolistically competitive market, where each firm tries to differentiate their product so that they can claim that their product is different from their competitors.